Hey guys, welcome back. So we are continuing our comparison series. Yeah. We just finished doing Maverick versus Epic Flash, the Sub-Zero heads for both. This one I'm very curious about. F9 was a monster for us last year, especially in your hands. You were really, really good with that one. And also down at the PGA show, you really had a liking to the Speedzone.
Yep, it kind of reminded me of one calendar year ago. We had that kind of experience with F9 at the show, and then kind of felt the same way with this. Nice little refinements to the looks and feel, but obviously this is the first time I've actually gotten to try them side by side. And that's what people want. I mean, tons of people have this club. It's really good. Yeah. Just want to be able to give them some concrete information. If this is better, how much better is it? Yeah. And so at least you can decide, is it worth me paying, for a new driver or not?
Yeah, and then the Callaway comparison, the first one we done, it was, I think, not a big surprise for us, the result of that one. So again, two high performers. I'm just, are we going to see a similar thing? Are we going to see marginal improvements to the point where a launch monitor is going to have a hard time separating them? Sure. Sometimes, when it's performance beyond the numbers, it can be, in the field, it can be the flight, it can be the feel of it,
the feel, the look, the consistency.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting one, because I think we spoke about that in Orlando, which for me is probably the storyline behind the new Speedzone range versus F9 is.
Totally agree.
I think it could be a little bit more robust on all sort of hits across the face.
Yeah, if there was one criticism I had for this, it definitely wasn't the quickest high, and it wasn't the lowest spin here. It definitely spiked up. Yeah. So I didn't find it to be the most stable driver. However, out of the middle, it was definitely one of the best.
One of the better ones.
Yeah.
So we've went with what we feel is like an optimized combo for you, which is additional head weight in there. So we've added another 4 grams to both heads. So we're playing the 14 and the 6 rather than the standard 14 and 2.
And we've done that in both heads, so they're exactly the same. Yeah. Same loft, we're gonna have the same hosel setting, same shaft, same grip. Basically try to do as close a head-to-head as we can.
Yeah, and we're trying to give you what would be pretty much your fitted driver in both. So
yeah, not a stock version of either, that's for sure.
No, so optimized specifically for you. You've done really well with Nemesis so far this year. We do have obviously the benefit of the extra head weight, so we are going to go back to that.
I love it.
Okay. One.
That's good. It's good. It's nice. It is. I think you're absolutely right. It's internally just a little bit less draw bias. It's a good one.
See, that's the good one I was kind of almost waiting on. When you were managing your face so nicely to the left, you are going to get that one that when you turn it over, it's just perfect.
That's a good swing. That's nice. I mean, the ones I turned over are okay still. Like 1800 spin isn't a nightmare.
Yep. It's good.
It's really good. I cannot hit that any better.
see the difference in the flight. You're kind of hanging on to the face a little bit with this.
Yeah, just to try
and keep it online, but
it's 3 good swings. Be happy with all of them.
Okay, Matty boy. A little bit more separation than probably anticipated.
Definitely. I didn't think that we would see center-faced hits have any disparity. There was a couple that topped out kind of 179, 180 with Speedzone. Couldn't quite get there with this, no matter how good the strike was.
Yeah.
So I know that's not what they intended. I'm sure the center of the face is as close as it's going to be. I'm not saying it is for sure faster, but it seemed like this had a little bit of an extra gear by 1%. Off-center hits, I definitely found to be quite a bit quicker with the Speedzone. Coupled with this, I got a little high.
Yeah.
And we saw the speed drop just 5-6 miles an hour.
There was one in there we deleted where you caught it 10 millimeters high and the speed dropped to 168.
Which is quite a bit. Now, the launch conditions were still good and it went far, but without that, it probably wouldn't have been the longest drive.
So I think in terms of a little additional speed on the test.
Yep.
And obviously a little bit more protection for you against the one that curves.
For sure.
That's where the win is on this one. It's a fraction quicker and a little bit more stable.
More neutral. Yeah, and more stable for sure. So one thing I'll point out, people are going to mention the 9 degree of last year's was more the fade bias head, which we know. Yeah. But we're testing them 10.5 to 10.5. So if someone is looking at these, you'll know that the new driver is a little bit more fade biased, and last year's is a little bit more drop biased. Now that being said, the 9 degree may have been a little bit more down the left side, but then you're not comparing the same driver.
Exactly.
You'd have different spin and launch conditions and stuff. So,
well, looking where your numbers sort of fall in there, I really like that blue trajectory. So the peak is a little hot further up, and then the land angle obviously just flattens out really, really nicely. So
the averages are great. I like those numbers quite a bit.
I think it's probably, again, it's very similar to that. I'm thinking of the test we done with all 4 drivers down in Orlando, and I want to say 177.7 to 177.4 was about what we saw from those other ones. So really like when a test backs up another test, and we kind of have seen that with this. So it's lived up to the billing as probably our kind of
one to
favorite
watch,
driver so far. This year. I mean, once we do the head-to-head, it'll be really interesting to see how they all stack up once they're fitted.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with a shaft and weight configuration that we know is pretty good, but there's always room to kind of squeeze more out of all of these. But I mean, still considering F9 is still a really good driver. If you test both and it fits you better, I think that's a great deal. It's probably down at least $200, I'd imagine.
I know.
But try both. Like, I don't think you should assume that Speedzone's no better, because that's certainly not what we're finding. We're definitely finding it to be a worthwhile upgrade. So even if you are an F9 guy, take a look at least. I'd say they've made some pretty good improvements.
I think so as well. I think that's just the performance, and then as we said on the consistency of the strikes, we are going to see some slightly tighter patterns. So. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment. If you missed last year, missed F9, maybe it perked your interest, but you never quite went into it. You've probably done the right thing, and you'll actually get a better driver this year at Speedzone.
They've refined it quite a bit. I think I prefer it a lot at address. They've done a great job with this Infinity Face.
I think we all agree that the graphics are better.
Very worthwhile.
The majority, I think, do.
The only thing I would say is you might like the sound of this one better. This is a little louder.
Yeah.
That's my only criticism, is I think F9 probably sounds a bit better to my ear, but it's not enough that I would trade off the rest of it, that's for sure.
And outdoors, we were quite impressed with the sound of that outdoors.
This is the worst spot to assess it, really. It's the most punishing to a louder sound. So, but just to mention if anyone's on the fence, but good driver.
Okay, so a little bit in that then. So obviously we didn't see much in the Callaway test. We've seen quite a bit more. Now, what do you want to... what value do you want to place upon 7 yards in carry and a fair bit of dispersion? That's up to you. That's up to. I mean, if you're looking for incremental improvements,
it's here.
They're there.
It's not a night and day improvement.
They're absolutely there.
Nor was it meant to be.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So I think F9 was a really good driver and a great foundation for what they've kind of got now in their performance. I think they've refined it and they've come back with a better one.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, more to come. We've got a few other tests planned for today. Lots more comparisons and head-to-heads coming.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.
you.